What it do, and welcome back to another episode of The Weekly Wind-Down, your favorite chat show hosted by yours truly, JerBear, a.k.a. Jeremiah Neal, a.k.a. The Pop Culture Maven, a.k.a. A Girly at Peace, y'all. For my astrology queens, y'all already know we just made it out of this intense-ass retrograde, y'all. Girl, the energies were just trying to pull me back. Pulling me back, like Chingy girl. But still, I rise. Come on, Stacey Rush. Come on, Maya Angelou. But anyway, what's going, y'all? I gotta start the episode with a PSA. I hope none of y'all ain't got no travel plans over the next 3 weeks to damn 3 months, because what is going on with these TSA lines, y'all? I just watched a video of someone that got to the airport. They got to the ATL airport at 12:45 a.m. for a 6:45 a.m. flight, and they got through TSA at 5:30, y'all. So that was 5 hours. 5 hours it was sitting there. Like, girl, y'all gonna take the train or driven. At this rate, make it make sense. Now, as y'all can see, I'm trying to keep things lighthearted, but y'all, these ice cubes being thrown into the mix at the airport, this ain't helping either. As I'm observing these videos of ice at San Francisco Airport, ATL Airport, they don't even know what they're doing. They have no type of command, and it's very clear as day. And they're getting all mad when people are taking pictures of them. Nah, bitch, don't be acting shy now, girl. If you got the audacity to be a part of the new SS, girl, then you better wear your face clear as day for everybody to see. No mask. I know we just went through this COVID portal again, but no mask, girl. Let yourself be seen. Let your light shine. So all my photographers, y'all better go camp out at the airport and let's start some mess. Another random thought I got, but is anybody else obsessed with Greek food? OMG, y'all, that's all that's been on my mind. Y'all see how random my brain is? Like, I literally been tearing up my heroes, tomato. And I feel like spring 2026 is definitely going to capture me in my Mediterranean era. It's giving light, it's giving refreshing, sweet to the eyes, to the ears, to the taste. Honestly, all attributes our topic of discussion hasn't been able to embody for the last few years. Oh my God. Stop being shady, JerBear. Nah, y'all already read the headline, so y'all knew on my clock. It just ain't clocking like Justin Bieber. But before we hop into this Chappell analysis, I just want to share a little brief message with y'all that if you are going through any battles in life right now, whether it be your education, earning a livable income, family reconciliation, anything that can just happen to a human to kind of dampen your light or your spirit, please know that this too shall pass. It's only temporary. You got to thrive in the right now, thrive in the moment. I finally understand what these people be talking about when they say live in the moment. We cannot control no outcomes. All we can do is control how we present to the world, and that takes us being our very best. So whether you got to do your breathing exercises, you got to do your exercise at the gym, you got to be cooking your favorite meals, you got to do something to set yourself in a space to be able to vibrate high so then you can attract what you actually need. You've already figured it out in the past as well. So life has always leaned in your favor at the end of the day, and it's going to always figure itself out, boo. So I don't know why that was on my heart. We done had 3 different topics within the last 3 minutes. Whoever just needed that message, that was for you. Like I said, I've been telling y'all, I've been going through the ringer of life, what it seems since dang COVID started. So if I can still find joy in all this madness, y'all, I know y'all can too. So let's hang in there, y'all. JerBear, they did not come to listen to Dr. Phil. I need to give myself a little bit more status cred, because Dr. Phil is he even a real doctor? I need to go research some psychologists and not no dang Dr. Sheree. I just seen on Sheree's bio that because she got her honorary degree, that she has Dr. Sheree with it. No posers, no phonies, and we about to hop into that. So let's get this shit started. So I know y'all been seeing Chappell Roan all on y'all feeds due to this latest scandal. I thought I would take my time to kind of just go over exactly what happened and then give y'all some analysis of someone that has a couple years on her. I think I'm about a decade older than her. I've also been through the same environments in Los Angeles. So I'm hoping that, I don't know if she's gonna ever hear this, but I'm hoping that anyone else that's interested in the music industry or just wanting to pursue a life in public fame can take my words to heart because y'all know I only spit that good. We always got to clock what we can do as the artists and also as the consumers to avoid BS like this in the future, because the way we are headed with this, Chappell ain't gonna be the only artist that's gonna be acting out like this, and this is really gonna ruin something special. This is not what the Beatles and Elvis and all them was thinking about where they created the phenomenon of fandom. Anywho, Chappell Roan, aka Kayleigh Rose, y'all might hear me say Kayleigh throughout this because I'm gonna be addressing her with her real name at sometimes. But Chappell was a headliner at Lollapalooza, Brazil, which shout out to Lollapalooza. I feel like Coachella might gotta watch out. I've been hearing a lot about Lolla. Homegirl was staying at the same hotel as a famous soccer player, Jorginho, and his family. So during a mealtime, Jorginho's daughter noticed Chappell Roan from afar and asked her mom if she could just go verify that that was her. She didn't approach Chappell. She didn't speak to her. She just smiled, walked past, and went back to the table to eat with her family. A few moments later, Chappell's security team approached Jorginho, berated him and his family, and said that they were going to be filing a complaint to the hotel concierge due to their what felt like invasion of Chappell's privacy. This escalated issue ended up having the girl go through an emotional panic attack. She just breaking down and crying, pretty much ruined their day, which obviously it would, because nobody, especially if you are also another person in the media, you don't like being confronted that way when, in theory, and I hate to say this, but they're not average civilians, you know, like they also belong in the same rooms as Chappell. So who is she to be able to dictate who can walk past her, you know? But he pretty much let that be known. He took it to social media. He dragged Chappell Roan for filth and the security's behavior. His wife also did an 8-minute long live video explicitly explaining the details of the whole ordeal, which also garnered even more backlash because now we got the mom and the dad giving their 2 cents. Then then the hotel came up and backed up Jorginho and his wife and the daughter. So now we got 3 people saying the same thing. Later on, after a day or two of this blowing up on socials, Chappell did like a 45-second video saying that she didn't even see this girl. She didn't call out for a complaint to her security. None of this actually happened the way it did. She's so sorry. To me, and I don't know if I'm just like an overzealous emotional person, but Chappell's video came off as very insincere. Many people in the comments are trying to, discredit, saying, oh, that just is dry Midwest sense of humor. Like the girls that don't get it, they just won't get it, etc. But it's just reading insincere to me. And the reason why it is because there's also been recent footage, like within the last day or two, where Chappell is at the airport pointing at fans from afar, y'all. I'm talking about like all the way down the other side of the terminal using that nice 8x zoom on them new iPhone 17s, you know what I'm saying? But she over there pointing these people out to her security and then having the security go walk up to them and scream, no pictures, no photos. Now, girl, I don't know what planet you are living on, but phones ain't going nowhere. Catch me on your video phone. Like Beyonce said, she said that back in 2010, 2011, and it's only gotten even more social at this point, especially if you in a public setting. And especially if you are a celebrity, girl. People are going to take your pictures or people are going to video record you. You cannot prevent every single person from putting up their phone and wanting to document you walking by. So no shade, but this is honestly making me really side with the soccer player because we have evidence of her kind of doing the opposite of what she speaks. And we're going to talk about that later. But y'all, recently it got so crazy to the point where the mayor of Rio, one of the largest cities in the world, Eduardo Cavaliere, got on social media, y'all, and banned Chappell Roan for performing at Todo Mundo, which is like a really huge festival. It's even bigger than Lolla, in my opinion. This is where Madonna, Lady Gaga broke these records of having like 100,000 people in attendance or something crazy like this. Like, it's a huge festival. So for the mayor to get up there and say pretty much, girl, you ain't welcome in our city, in our country at that, because Brazil don't play. One thing I know about Brazil, girl, these people do not mess around with their support for musicians. So it's kind of weird and eerie to see like the flip of this. We're getting to see, typically they're always jumping for joy and celebrating and praising, but we're getting to see their wrath a bit. So if you got one of the most supportive countries when it comes to musicianship turning their backs on you, girl, we know things are getting pretty bad. And looking pretty real. So with Chappell's recent apology, I'm noticing this trend of empty condolences, which I feel are resolving nothing because we're not acknowledging any self-fault. We're not looking in the mirror and saying, what part did I play in the overall outcome of the situation? Pointing fingers and putting 95, 100% of the blame on the external environment leans heavily into a bit of narcissism for me. And it also leads me to know that these apologies are not necessarily full truths. It seems like she's just trying to do damage control on how people perceive her and her actions, which makes sense, y'all, because she did just fire her management team and her publicity team after discovering that they were a part of the Epstein files. So I get that aspect, but you got to think about it. You got to manage the brand version of you, and then you got to manage the human version of you at the same time. And I know that can be a lot. I still struggle with that on the daily. Normal JerBear wants to, relax, watch my housewives all day and be on vacation all day. But brand Jer is like, girl, we got to create this motion and we got to evoke a brand that people want to gravitate towards. And that has to come with like a sparkle of energy that is enjoyed in a way. Overall, what I'm trying to say is just because you have these hardships of managing personal and brand you doesn't mean that you have the right to be a bitch to people. For real, y'all. Like, the thing is, we've been peeping Kayleigh Rose doing this for the last 3 years. This isn't her first incident. We have been seeing this. The snooty remarks, how she be acting on the red carpets, her engagement and sarcasm in a plethora of interviews, always acting disinterested, like she don't want to be there. It's like this overzealous, monotone, I'ma roll my eyes at any stage I can get. I'm too cool to be happy and to be joyous. And it can be very off-putting at times for some. However, I also know a lot of people do gravitate towards this type of freedom of expression, air quote. And that really worries me because personally, I feel like this is going to be conditioning a whole generation of music listeners to mimic this behavior of Kayleigh. I don't like that. And if we're really talking about it, I honestly feel like this is just whiteness and white culture to a T. We gonna try you, we gonna try it, we gonna rev up all the drama, and then we gonna sweep it under the rug like nothing happened, and then rinse and repeat. This is the same thing that happened. Y'all remember that weird guy? He was recording people on his meta glasses, and he walked into a workout class, and there was nobody in the workout class, so then there was a whole drama about letting himself in when nobody was there, and he was getting employees in trouble. Well, it later turned out that he was a gay Republican, which y'all would think that that wouldn't exist, but there are hella out there that kind of disassociate from anything when it comes to the cool part of them. So the queerness, they would rather align with the white side of things because in this society, that's what gets you closest to the top. So I do believe a lot of what Chappell is going through stems from a level of entitlement and superiority that white folks feel like they have over others, especially here in America, but it's starting to see like around the globe. But honey, unfortunately, it doesn't work like that, especially in a place like Brazil. You can't carry those characteristics and expect to get the same results, especially in a country like Brazil. Not everybody gonna be passive, ignore, and just pretend like the world just gonna keep on spinning. Some people gonna call you out. Outside of this incident, in general, I don't feel that Chappell has a likable personality or spirit. I'm not saying that, she's a devil and people want to stray away from her, but you gotta have some type of candor with how you move through the industry and how you appeal to your fans. Now, I'm not saying, don't be like me, how I was in LA, being overly nice and showy to the point where that can also come off as disingenuous because too much niceness just sometimes reads it reads kind of corporate, you know what I mean? And some people don't like that, especially in the music industry. Like, you're with a bunch of like oddballs and beatniks, you know what I mean? So people can't connect with that either. You just got to live in your truth, like in that middle ground. And yes, living in your truth does amount to something, but in the politics of pop culture, talent honestly is only half the battle. Shoot, honestly, it's 20% at this point, 10. Having a relatability factor about you in a world where parasocial relationships dominate the entertainment industry and social media will totally take people very far. It will take people further than some of the most talented people that we have seen come out of the music schools like Berkeley and AMDA and all of that. Honestly, no shade, but this is how Addison Rae carved out her pipeline to end up being a Grammy-nominated artist.
And
from a TikTok social media influencer. You know what I mean? Copying dances from other people, and then now look at her trajectory. Speaking of the Grammys, fun fact, did y'all know that Chappell Roan, Kayleigh, actually attended a Grammy summer camp in the years of 2014 and 2015? This is actually where she met a lot of her industry peers that got her the hookups and the connections to do a lot of her vibes independent once she decided to depart from her labels due to, you know, their mismanagement and they weren't really like pushing her records out. So after she left them, she still had all of these people that were still heavily involved in the industry in LA. Then y'all fast forward 8 years, she up on stage in an interview talking about F the Grammys and it's just a contest for famous people with money and resources, etc. And it was like, girl, that's kind of how you got your start here. You know what I mean? If it wasn't for that entity or that organization, girl, like... So you see what I mean? It just goes to show you that y'all always can't believe the hype of the words that come out of some of your favorite celebs and influencers' mouths. You have to look at the actions because behind the scenes, they over there indulging in using the same very thing that they're discrediting as their pillars, as their foundations. And then they go up in public and start shaming it. Make sense. Like I said, having a likable spirit, personality, having that relatability factor, all of those factors matter so much in today's time and industry. It's very clear that Chappell garnered a lot of her inspiration from Lady Gaga. And I feel like, if anything, she should have taken a token out of Lady Gaga's book when it comes to the support and the adoration from her fans. Now, Gaga used to be cutting up in them interviews, y'all. But one thing she never denied was her love and her adoration for her little monsters. Still to this day, she be up there doing those speeches and crying over these little monsters because she knows that they are the driving force of why she is where she is today. Also, the thing that Gaga did right was that she aligned her cutthroatness with like a character. You know what I mean? It wasn't Stephanie Germanotta that were doing all these wacky interviews and wearing the meat dresses and talk about the only thing she looked for is a big dick. I'll never forget that interview. Lady Gaga is so crazy. But all those outfits, the brash humor, the glitz and the glam was rolled out as a total package for the entity. She was always in character 24/7. So that gave her grounds to live, breathe, sleep in that world as Lady Gaga. But then when she got back to the hotel, I think she could step into a space of being Stephanie. Another great example of a white girl pushing the envelope, Madonna. Like, our girl had to damn reinvent herself 25 times with all her albums and all her eras that she's been through. And she was able to claim so much authority of public opinion. A lot of it was positive. A lot of it was negative. Like, even when they tried to ban her with her erotica sex book or ban her songs from being played on the airwaves, she still protested. She still stood against misogyny. She still made a stance for what she was fighting for. Y'all see, there was like a bigger mission at play. It wasn't just, I woke up grumpy and I don't want to be bothered by people. Like, when these two was out there doing stuff, there was a bigger mission at play. This kind of substance, this kind of gumption just adds to the overall vibe of the artist in addition to their music, which makes their supporters fall in love with them even more. They weren't just being bratty just because. And I feel like that's what Chappell has twisted in this whole situation. You got to put them feelings aside, girl, and put on literally that role, that cosplay, that role play, and live in that character. You can't bleed the two or else you're not going to go far in the long term, which is crazy because Chappell does give me role play, you know, with the makeup, the red wigs, like how she does all of that stuff. She's right in conjunction with everything that I just named with Madonna and Gaga. However, in Chappell's head, she only want to do the Chappell Roan brand for the 45 minutes that she's on set. She only wants to be Chappell Roan the brand for only like 45 minutes during her set. And then as soon as the show is over, we're reverting back to Kayleigh Rose. Like, I guess that's okay, but maybe I just have different expectations from my pop stars, yo. Because even the ones that I grew up with that were like introverted, like my boy Chad from Linkin Park, or I don't know, there's a few other people, even John Mayer sometimes gave a little quiet. Even though they were shy, they still would make their little appearances on TRL. They still would smile and wave at people and just do the bare minimum. Maybe they just did a really good job at hiding it. But I can't really think of someone that has been so unlikable or has embodied such an unlikable personality since like a Courtney Love or like a Kathy Griffin. Chappell, let's keep it real, girl. I don't think you want to be in that type of tribe. That's the tribe you want to join, girl. I think you want to be in the rankings of the Gagas and the Madonnas, okay? So now we got to dissect some of her usual excuses. On many of Kayleigh's tirades about how the world sucks, she usually targets the paparazzi, which is fair because they have been known to drive some people crazy, i.e. our girl Britney Spears, okay? Chappell is smart. She knows that the paparazzi don't have the best reputation, so it's like she's using them as her veil in order to kind of poke the bear at other situations. However, in a setting like this situation that just happened at the hotel, this was not the case. Paparazzi weren't involved, so you can't really use that like as an excuse. The vibes that flared up were just your human nature, Kayleigh, which is okay, I guess, but just be upfront about that. No boundary line hopping at all. But after analyzing this, it got me to the conclusion that Chappell has an issue with being perceived, which is so strange. And I can kind of relate. For someone that loves to sing, loves to perform or whatever, there are some times where I literally like despise being on stage, or like I can't stand it. I'm like, why are these people looking at me or whatever? You would think like, wouldn't you want to do that since you are an entertainer? So I can relate to her, which is why I feel like I can clock her about this. But it's just strange that you just happen to pick a job where public perception ranks the highest. It's even more important than some of government officials. You can see they can clearly get away with whatever they want and just roll back into office. But we will hold our singers and our actors and the dancers and everybody in the industry to the highest of pedestals. So Chappell, she can set all the boundaries. That's a new thing of the 2020s. Everybody want to set boundaries for themselves, which is great. You can set all of the boundaries you want, but you can't cross these boundary lines that you made. You can't step over those lines to then go project harsh energy to others. Like that's just not how the world works. Boundaries are meant for you to remain behind your wall. So in that case, if you know you are not a morning person, if you know you are a cranky person, if you know you adore your alone time, girl, you should have been eating your food in your hotel room. I know that seems it's so unfair, but girl, life is not fair, and other people have way harder circumstances than you having to shield or monitor your social battery. Shoot, if you wanted to get out of the room and just have something to look at, maybe you want to see the beautiful water, because you already know Brazil be having them views, okay? Then you got the money, ask hotel concierge to get you like a private balcony or a room or something of that sort. But you just can't get comfortable trying to act like this queen of hearts, banishing people from your kingdom, your imaginary kingdom at that, because it ain't the real world. Period. And also this kingdom is a shared space with other humans. The same as you, boo. Ultimately, in my opinion, this cannot work, and I don't think this is going to work long term. If she's trying to strive to superstar level, unfortunately, those boundary lines will always be crossed if given access, which is why so many of our veterans, like a Beyonce, remain undercover. We don't ever get to see their actual true personality. They only give us a persona that they want. I mean, you can even see that with Justin Timberlake's most recent DUI arrest. Now, granted, he was intoxicated, but we just got to see a whole other side of Justin Timberlake that the public eye rarely gets to see. Everything is always controlled by the PR teams and the A&Rs and all that kind of stuff too. But no, we got to see them people as humans. So at some point, this veil, it has to fall and you let us in, or you got to lean into that character. But you just can't simply just start beef with folks that are funding your career and then expect that to be a long and everlasting method of business. It's just not going to work. I think my girl truly just has to strip some things back a bit. Instead of doing these festivals, maybe she goes and does like amphitheaters or ballrooms where, they can fit a couple thousand people, where she can truly connect with smaller, intimate crowds, but not be overwhelmed with all the chaos of what the world can offer. And also to get her more favorable to this current state of public opinion, she should also align with more of her philanthropic efforts. The healthcare, when she got on the stage and she was talking about how musicians signed to labels need healthcare, yes, boo, that is a good look. Advocacy for the victims of sex trafficking, absolutely, boo. Yes, this is a good look. But again, you got to remember, this is a social contract that you signed as a celebrity, and it requires you to be in high spirits or shield yourself in a way that people cannot see that side of you. People cannot let the rush of sudden fame give your mind this godlike complex to the point where you end up burning down your own house that you built. You know what I mean? In my experience in observing this industry, it's been the people that walk in a line of slight humility that have been able to have longevity in this industry, especially long term. We've seen how pop stars blow up and they can remain influential for a good 3 to 5 years, i.e. Dua Lipa. She had the world on lock. But how many of those same artists are lasting 10, 15, 20 years on their own accord, not doing these reunion tours to inadvertently force flow onto your brand. It's very few of these folks. I know I keep bringing up Beyonce, but Beyonce is literally being compared to artists that weren't even part of her whole generation. She came out in early mid 90s and she being compared to Taylor Swift, who didn't even come out on the scene until 2005. That's a whole separate class. Who she got? Maybe Usher? You know what I mean? That's who people should be comparing her to. But those people have kind of fallen off to the point where now we have to start. That's like us comparing Beyonce to like Girl Set. It just don't make sense. But she's one of the few to have continued on with that longevity. And I feel like that's what artists need to be striving for. Even when it's coming to making their music, we need to be focusing on timeless records, not just gimmicks, not just short social media moments that people are not going to remember about in damn 6 months to a year. Shoot, not even 3 months. I don't know. Like, I get the fact that we have evolved as a society and humans are a bit more in depth with how they express themselves, their emotions, their opinions. I get it. We all, look at me. I'm over here sitting here chatting on my chat show, ranting and rambling about my thoughts. So I'm not saying that people can't feel these things or be bout it, but I'm just saying if you are wearing the crown and the role as a pop princess, that comes with terms and conditions that you got to abide by, girl. And I really hope that she can sit down with herself and think about what she truly wants. You know what I mean? If she don't want to go on this whole media tirade and this media route, then we don't need to be doing those types of gigs. If you want to prepare yourself for world domination, girl, you got to fix that attitude. And that's all the shade. Good luck, babe. Anywho, y'all. I will end this on a positive B. Y'all, whatever you are doing right now, as soon as you end this chat show, I need y'all to head on over to YouTube and watch my girls flow in their new music video for Leak It. OMG! Like, I am so excited for these girls. I've been a Flow fan since they debuted with Cardboard Box, and I have to say this is possibly going to be the biggest record of their career. The girls finally decided to cross over into that pop sound. They have been so heavily R&B, which I love. Y'all know I love and root for any of the people that are fighting for R&B musicianship, like my girl Normani, for instance. But it's so cool to hear this like Nelly Furtado, Timbaland style beat. They knew that was gonna click because everybody's always in this nostalgic wave. But the visuals, y'all, body yaddy yaddies, the outfits, the glamour, the hair, the choreography, they are really giving cohesive, in sync Western girl group, which I love. So yes, y'all need to go check out Leak It, go watch the video, add the song to your playlist, and ultimately let your girl know what you were thinking, because I can't be the only one this excited for Flow. Like, I know there got to be other people out there that are rooting for my girls the same way I am. So y'all already know I appreciate every single one of y'all that sit here, take the time out to listen to me, my thoughts, my intellect, and what I want to put out there to the universe. So for that, I'm sending y'all the biggest virtual hugs in the world. I can't wait to continue on with this. Stay tuned for special guests. I know I say that every week, but we got some stuff brewing, and I'm very, very, very excited for the future of the Weekly Wind Down. I appreciate y'all, and with that, I'm gonna go sign out. I'm gonna go enjoy this sunny day, y'all. It's still cold as hell, but we still gonna make it work. I love y'all truly down, and I will see y'all next week. This is JerBear signing out of the Weekly Wind Down. Holla.